I'm Eden.
And I'm Sal.
Welcome to the Stay Focused podcast, where we talk to business owners about their journeys and how they got started.
They share the best parts and the worst parts of business ownership, offer their business advice, and we get all of their funny mishap stories.
We do this podcast because your story matters, so stay focused.
Don't always assume that you're the smartest person in the room.
I think we definitely struggle with imposter syndrome.
It goes back to having the right people around you.
I'd say Lubbock is just a great place to be. We love the culture and community here.
This is recording, right?
So welcome back to our Stay Focused podcast. Today we have TX Real Estate Group.
Logan and Hannah Harrison. They are a married power couple killing the real estate game.
The humility that you can tell they both have to be in leadership roles is huge, and something that, I mean, what we're trying to showcase is most business owners do have that level of humility, and it is just fun when you get to see it, because most of the time they're putting on the front of, I have it together, and you look like the perfect little CEO or COO on the outside, but deep down they're like just people helping people.
Mm-hmm. But they clearly know their stuff, and they just want to help people, and it's just like so obvious.
It was refreshing.
And
they were the sweetest couple.
And there was a cute baby.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait for y'all to get to watch Logan and Hannah's episode. So here we go.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Stay Focused podcast. Before we start the episode, we wanted to jump on here and just make a quick disclaimer. There are some technical difficulties that I had with this episode, mainly involving Savannah's microphone, where the audio is definitely not up to our usual standards. But we do hope that you'll stick through the whole episode, listen to what Logan and Hannah have to share. We do think it'll be really encouraging for you guys. So yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of this episode.
Logan and Hannah, how's it going?
Going good.
Good.
Going good.
Okay, so y'all are a Texas real estate group. Tell us a little bit about your business and what you guys do.
Yeah, so TX Real Estate Group, we originally started and primarily focused on investments. We obviously do real estate, but we sell houses and farm and ranch. This is our specialty. And
Yeah, Logan started the team back. We were going back on the timeline yesterday and
19.
started the team, 2019. We had our first baby, and 2020, it was you, David, and Cole.
Yep.
And then I came on in 2021. I was working a 9 to 5. It was hard sending the kid to daycare all day, and just was kind of looking for some more flexibility. Logan was in a position to either have to hire somebody or bring on more help. And so, it worked out. We kind of took a leap of faith and both started, we were like, do we really want to work with each other all the time? But it's worked really well. We work well together. So, that was 2021, which was actually really good timing. My dad was diagnosed with brain cancer, and we had to move him in with us. And so having the flexibility to take him to appointments and be where we needed to be was a big blessing. But team naturally grew from there. Brought your mom on, Peter.
And then about that time is whenever we really, really honed in on farm and ranch. And then we got Jude and Roland now, Cindy and Brandy. And it's
Okay, so how many of there are you? How many of you are there?
Seven
now.
8, actually.
8.
Jude.
As of
So you started as you and 2 other guys. So how did that come about? Oh, baby Nora is here too. So
Yeah, we didn't really introduce ourselves.
Yeah, so I guess going way back, that I originally started and I was farming, and I wanted to own land and have my own operation and all that. Figured out pretty quick as a farmhand, it's very difficult to buy property whenever you're, making only $12 an hour. So then of course we were starting a family, and that didn't quite cut it. And so then my cousin said, you should try real estate, and got me connected with a guy named Greg Brown, who is still in real estate here in town. He has the Go Getter Group, and they specialize in apartments, and started on his team. And built up his residential team, and then was at a point of like trying to figure out what I wanted to do, which sounds crazy because I'd been doing real estate for 2 years, and then it's like maybe I just need to go off on my own and figure it out. And then from there, that's when the team kind of blew up. So
Yeah. So Logan is our team leader, CEO. Then my role is more of an operational marketing role. So kind of handle the behind the scenes stuff. But there's
business partner as well, Peter, that work.
that's our other owner. Yeah.
Okay.
So was it always in the plan for you to have your own business?
No.
No, I don't think we ever really knew what our plan was.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have a clue what I wanted to do. I mean, out of high school, my parents wanted me to go to college. So I think I went for 2 semesters. I don't even know that I got a credit. And I showed up to class a handful of times, and I was like, I'm not going to pay for this, because they were making me pay for it because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of just right people showing up at the right time. And it was, I don't really know exactly how it all happened.
Yeah.
It just
And
kind of did.
I think that's something that we hear a lot, is that business owners that are business owners now, they started on kind of an unconventional path. They didn't want to do what other people wanted them to do. And then it all kind of just fell into place, because like you obviously have to have some kind of ambition to be a business owner, and you have to care about what you're doing. And so I think when you care that much and when you're going to work that hard, it's going to work out for you.
Yep.
So were you doing something similar to real estate before you came into this role?
What?
Not quite. So I did work part-time for a real estate team in college.
Okay.
And then got my degree in marketing. And then when I graduated, I worked in logistics for a corporate company. They closed the business location here in Lubbock down. So ended up for a job in child nutrition, which was really random, but it was just someone I knew that kind of got me connected in the position. And from there is when I had kind of been helping Logan, like with the marketing piece of things, just flyers here and there, open houses and stuff. And then, but no, it was definitely not real estate prior to coming on full time in the team, but had the experience just from college and, just kind of.
She's really good at all the things that I'm terrible at. Like operations, making things. Yeah, so that's why the business relationship and all that has really worked out well. We know our roles and kind of stick to it.
Complementing each other well, I'd say.
Most days.
Just
kidding.
So do you remember the moment when you realized, like, I'm starting my own thing here?
Kind of. I think it still continually happens to this day. Like there's times where it's like, of course, when we started a team, that's the vision of like, you see and you want this growth, you set all these big goals and stuff, and then it's like you gotta of course have the actions meet them and all that, and then you finally get there, like get halfway to the point, and then it's like, oh shoot, it's like actually working, or you're like figuring out what's not working, and then do what you should be. And I think there's kind of different points throughout the last 8 years that was like, man, this is actually business. And the beautiful thing I think about it and kind of the way we operate is it doesn't feel like a business at the same time, if that makes sense. Because we all really enjoy talking to farmers. We enjoy talking to investors. And so we're just having conversations with clients and friends. So it doesn't ever really feel like business until it does at some points. But I don't know if that directly answers.
So it's just all relational. Yeah. That's really neat. That is so cool. You were awarded something like a few months ago having to do with land. I cannot remember the post, but I know there was a post about it. Him and
Peter.
Okay.
They are the
Texas land guys.
Yes.
Yeah, we're the regional ambassadors for
Okay.
North Texas and New Mexico region for Keller Williams. And so I guess Keller Williams is each office there is independently owned and operated. So each you have teams and agents. Well, they have market centers all across the U.S. and everywhere, and we're part of the land division, obviously. And it was kind of one of those things where we were just talking to the guys, and they were like, "We think y'all would be a great fit for this," and we're like, "Man, we're still trying to figure out what we're doing." And he's like, "No, y'all should do it." And so, yeah, that's been a lot of fun. It's my favorite thing about all of it is like it's an opportunity to help people have more opportunities, and so like that's awesome if you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean that's what it's about.
So what does your day-to-day look like? Do you guys usually get calls and from people saying, all right, I'm wanting to sell this, or do you go look for that? How does that work?
I'd say every day is different and a little bit of all of the above.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would more so say like what part of the career. So like starting off, you start with just not your phone and you just got to get out there and get after it. And so originally starting off, we were talking to anywhere between 100 to 80 people a day, just cold calling,
Good.
talking.
Yeah.
And then from there, I mean, if you throw a dartboard enough times, you're going to hit a bullseye. And so then we started hitting those and building relationships. And now we've gotten to the point where our brand is out there and we've done it. So we're starting to receive more calls, but you don't also want to lose the go get it
Right.
too.
Right.
So it's a combination.
Yeah. So when you've gotten to the point where like you're the CEO and you guys are like the people to go to, and you have people saying like you are good for this thing, and you say, I don't know, we're still figuring it out. How do you deal with like imposter syndrome?
I was hoping you could tell me that. I don't. That's a great question. I think it goes back to having the right people around you, and being able not only to call out the bad things, but also to call out the good things of like saying, like, take a step back and look at what you've done. That's the hardest thing to do, in my opinion, as a business owner, of like saying, because you don't want to be like, man, we're doing really good. This is all great. And people tend to think like, wow, you're really arrogant, And so I don't want to be like that. And so I tend to be on the other side. And I think, I don't know, it's just having the right people around you, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we definitely struggle with imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
On
a daily basis.
Yeah. Even recently, like thinking about having, each time we've had a baby, like we've kind of, has been a reset for us. And obviously your schedule is just kind of like thrown out of whack and you are trying to figure things out. But being able to have the flexibility and take the time off, but yet still working while you're taking time off can be a hard balance. But at the same time, like even just having Nora, we were like, it's okay if we, take a little step back because we're in a position to do that. But at the same time, it's really hard to don't feel like we should.
Goes back to almost that imposter syndrome of like, if you're taking a step, speed of the leader, speed of the pack. So like, it's like you have to show up at the right times. And we don't ever ask anything of anybody we're not committed to doing, because if it's not a standard, then it just becomes a suggestion. If we're not doing it, they're not going to do it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Seems like it's just like a big balancing act that you have to mix with a lot of humility.
For sure.
Yes. Yep.
You're always improving. And I think that's the mindset that we always see with like really successful business owners. Like you figure out how to balance your life around it, and you're always taking a step back and realizing you can do better. Always.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What is it that Tara always says? You're either green and growing or ripe and rotting. And so you're always, if you come from a learning based mindset and don't always assume that you're the smartest person in the room and put yourself there, like that's what you've got to do that if you want to continue to grow.
So who are those people that you guys surround yourself with that help you out?
Specifically for business? No, we have them for each areas of our life, but I mean specifically for business, I mean, Tara's a big one that get me into it, and Greg taught me how to do what to do. And from there went and started my own team. So
I would say our team
too.
Yeah,
I mean,
we just have a great group of people.
There's a lot. There's a very long list of people, and a lot of that's is credit to the company that we're at of bringing those people in and giving us the opportunity to talk to them. And so specifically with Keller Williams, not TX Real Estate Group, but yeah.
Yeah, and even personally, like we have a good community around us, our church and our small group
friends,
and group of friends, and yeah, I would say Lubbock is just a great place to be. Like we love the culture and community here, and it's been a great place for our family and our business. But yeah,
I want to know, you touched on this a little bit, but about like being in business and married. Like, I want to know what your initial thoughts and or hesitations were. And then I want to know like what kind of systems or boundaries or what you guys have done to like make it work really well.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I say we work really well together, and Logan is a very patient person when it comes to working with me.
This is recording, right?
Like we've definitely had hard times, and for sure like had to work through communication and but there are days where we're like, wow, all we've talked about today is business, like, and that can be a challenge for sure, because we feel like we're just business partners. But at the end of the day, like having our kids to come home to is a good like breaker, because then we're like we switch modes. So this is why we do it. Yes. And we're able to like pause and not talk about business. So I think that's definitely helped us. But yeah, I don't know.
I think the biggest thing is just being vulnerable enough with each other to like have the ability to call each other out. Because if we're sitting at the dinner table and I'm on my phone, she's like, hey, let's be here. And it's like, I can either be like, why are you doing? Why would you say that? I mean, in all reality, that's like I need to be more present with my family than I do that call. So I think just setting those boundaries and being able to say, hey, you're crossing the line here, and
yeah, something we've been really intentional about is just, and one goal that we talked about for this year was just being where our feet are. Like if we're at work, like we're at work, and just being really intentional with that time, because if our kids are in daycare, we want to make the most of that time and make sure that we're working while we're working. And then when we're home, like we want to be intentional and be present with our family. So that's really helped, just like being where our feet are, so
That's awesome.
yeah.
Those were good responses.
But it comes with its challenges too. It's hard to, if I'm mad at him for something at work, to not be
It's a
mad at
very
him personally.
interesting balance
It is,
that
yeah.
I have to work on daily,
Yes.
because then I do get my feelings hurt
Right.
when he's not treating me like his wife and he is treating me like a business
Sure.
partner. I'm like, wait, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But then that's what's healthy and appropriate. So it is a very weird balance. and
Absolutely.
Thankful that we now have y'all to lean on too. For
Yes.
advice and what has worked for y'all and what hasn't. So
Right.
do you guys also share an office together?
We do not. That was actually one physical boundary we had. So we started out in a really small office when I came on. It was like a closet, like it literally didn't have any windows, like a cave, but there was an office within the office, and it was just really small. So when we were setting up the layout, I was like, Logan, I don't think I should be in that back office with you. Like that'll be your call room and I'll be out here. And even though there's just a wall between us, like
I almost did that.
that would be, I think that would be too much for us. So yeah, having physical boundaries has helped us, but we still, so I would say we don't spend like a lot of like physical time together. Sorry.
From the
Which
day to
has
day.
helped. Yes.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a on the run too. Of like, there's also the other hard part about it too is like there's certain deadlines that have to be hit at times, and there's some people that think that they're the only client that you have, and you want to treat every client that way, you know. And so I think where it all goes back to is like you have to set the expectation like here, and we also have to set the expectation with the client. You have to set the expectation, because if you don't, if I'm always answering my phone or we're always talking about business, then that's the way it's going to be and what it is. So I think just knowing your values and where you want to go with life and family and all of it. If you don't have a target, you're just going to be going back and forth.
Yeah. It sounds to me like everything for you guys just kind of goes back to communicating. And like everyone always says that, like clear communication, communicate, like that's so important.
Right.
But I think a lot of people don't realize how much you have to over communicate sometimes to like actually know. Like you can't just assume that your client is going to know that you have 50 other clients and 3 kids.
Right.
You have to tell them, and you have to like let each other know, I don't want you to be on your phone at the dinner table.
Yeah.
And not just assume.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's like the most important thing in anything, business, family, life.
100%.
For sure. Do y'all share an office?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We do.
Let's dig into that a little bit more.
It's like you have some things to say, man.
Yeah. We have some
Bless.
questions for you.
Yeah. Our sweet guys have to listen. It's never him that yells. It's always me. But they have to hear it. We have very thin walls too. So, I mean, y'all know.
Yeah.
These offices are not the best.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it. I'm working on not letting my emotions take over. That's very hard though. What are TX Real Estate's group's goals for this year? What have you guys set out to do, and what do you want to achieve?
Yeah, man. I think, and this is one of the hard things is as a business owner, especially with it being a greener business, is you have a job and you have a business. And if you don't focus if I focus just on the job, I'm always going to be in job. If I focus just on the business, then I may not be having that income that I need, because it's just not there yet. So in terms of just like setting goals, the team goal is, I think volume wise this year we were at 55 million, and which thank the Lord we're on pace for that, and we're actually having to adjust it and expand it.
That's so cool.
But a lot of that too is like, I mean, the goal, to answer your question, I have to answer around questions a lot. To answer your question directly, the goal is for everybody, a part of the business, to be able to achieve what they want to. Like if the team can hit their goals, that's a success.
Yeah. So how do you guys go about setting goals? Like if I was a business owner who has never set goals ever, like how do you set that up? How do you get your team on board with all your goals? What do you do practically?
So before the end of each year, we sit down and have a business planning clinic meeting. It's just like a day where we look at what we've done the current year, and then what we'd like to do differently or improve on for the next year. So we sit down with Tara, who Logan's mentioned, but she's our team leader at Keller Williams. And so she gets to sit down with each team and agent and kind of look that over with us. But we kind of just go through numbers. We look at the big picture, numbers, personal life.
Health.
Health.
Yeah. There's a diagram or something that Keller Williams uses called the wheel of life, and it has family, finances, health, spiritual, business, and job. And it has like 1 to 5. And so like throughout the year, you'll put at where you are on the wheel. And so it's a good thing to like visualize, to be like, because if it's your family's at 5 and spiritual's at 1, you when you're aware of it, you are going to be more keen to work on it.
That's neat. I didn't
It's
know
a
that
really
about
good tool.
Yeah, that is really neat. What did it look like? Okay, this is going to be a dumb question on my part because I don't know how any of this works. I assume that it looks like you buying a piece of the franchise of Keller Williams and making it your own. Is that correct or no?
No.
Okay, great.
So, but that is an option. You can
Okay.
do that. There are like
Okay.
franchises, ish, or market centers is what they call them, and there's certain, has to be a certain size and all that. But the way that it works is, I mean, you pay in a, what do they call it, a company dollar in royalty to Keller Williams for all that they provide and support a year, which after that's paid in, then you get to keep the rest. So they're really pro you building your own business. So really there's not the tie to the or that we mostly have is one of the team leader and a broker over there. Did I answer that right?
Yeah, I was trying to follow. I think so. Yeah, so the way it's structured is like Keller Williams is our overall broker.
Okay.
And
okay.
then
It's like
there's
state
teams and
farms.
agents underneath that umbrella of brokerage. And whether you're a team or agent, like you have different splits. But when you choose to do a team, each team can operate how it wants to. And we can I guess.
The
Does that
short
make sense?
answer to that is you pay them a flat fee a year, and then you build your business. You don't have to pay that up front either, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get a whiteboard, we can show
confusing.
you a lot better.
I mean, the wall,
Draw on the wall.
put some diagrams up there. Okay, I just thought of something that I don't think we've ever asked anyone before, but I'm curious to know. So in business, we all have people that, I mean, sometimes your personalities don't work well together. Sometimes you're just having misunderstandings a lot. Sometimes people just don't like each other. I'm sure you guys have run into that.
Yeah, so one of the things we like to do when we set down with the person before they ever join the team is we set the expectations and the standards of like, we're going to be transparent. We want you to be transparent with us. And we have one-on-ones with them once a week. And by no means it's never easy, but it's a lot harder if you don't go through those expectations and like know where they're at, And so I think it's always more of a mutual decision than it's like, thank the Lord, we have not had to been just yet like, this isn't working, you got to go. It's always been a mutual decision.
Like, let them know what their part's going to need to be
Right.
away.
Right.
So what will you never compromise on in business?
Yeah.
I come back.
You want to go first? You want me to?
Go ahead.
I think it's probably the most cliche answer, but it's just the biggest thing. I think just always doing the right thing, honest and integrity. We're very big on, we don't like to be the only thing standing in the way of a deal. I think as specifically with being in real estate, man, they call it commission breath. It's like we're in it to help the person, and of course income is great, but I think as long as we just do the right thing and just get them whatever they need, that's what, once you do that, you can never go back from that, and then that's what your brand is. So it's fine.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's a good
Same.
answer. Yeah,
Yep.
same.
I like that. That is awesome because, I mean, I feel like y'all do get the heat. you know, the term realtor either makes you cringe, or if you've had a good experience, it's
Right.
a breath of fresh air and you don't know anything different. But you do. I mean, you guys are trying to prove that no, not everyone's the same. Not everyone's just trying to go after chasing the next dollar.
Right.
Right.
And I hate that. Buying a house, buying land is, I mean, come on, that is like one of your biggest investments you will
Right.
ever
Absolutely.
make in your life. And what a process that is already, no matter what the circumstance, if you're wanting to, if you're, you know, having to move, whatever it is. And so finding someone that's going to help you in that journey, but be a good person
Yeah.
of integrity, that's huge. So good for y'all for doing that and having those standards.
So if I was an aspiring business owner and I wanted to start my own business, what advice would you give? Like something you didn't know back then that you would
Get out of your own way. That 90% of the time, that's the biggest roadblock. We will put that up in front of ourselves and never like go through it or like break past it just because of a thought that you created that is irrelevant. And if you go, logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. So I mean, I don't know.
It's like checking your assumptions.
Yeah, that's always been a hard thing for me too, and you know, we are our biggest critic, you know, and that can be a good thing at times, but you gotta find that balance and you know those people to support you in it.
I mean, it can be a healthy fear though too, because
Absolutely.
you do have people that, I mean, that's their life. They work for you. You pay their bills.
Right.
So that does get in the way a
Yeah.
lot. Like, okay, do I need to make this decision? What if it doesn't work? And then what if this happens? Because
Right.
X, Y, and Z could happen in theory.
Yeah. And if you go based off of those scenarios, and this is what I mean, in real estate transactions, there's 100 different ways that it could happen, and in business, there's 100 different ways you can start a business, but until you sit down and figure out what you want, and just know you're just wandering, and until you get past your own belief, you're just gonna be sitting back.
Say the other thing is like finding a good mentor
Yeah.
has been big for us. I remember like in our early days, just leaning on them for wisdom and advice was big in a lot of our decisions that we made. So we would not have really known where to start or where to go without
Yeah.
some direction.
Absolutely.
So,
And I say that because I've heard it from mentors. So I mean, that's huge too.
absolutely.
I mean, there's a handful of things
There's
there.
so many people willing to help you out.
Right.
And that's scary too, because you think that especially people in your field are going to be like, no, we don't want them to succeed. They're going to take our clients. They're going to take,
Right.
but 9 times out of 10, they're so willing to sit down with you and show you the ropes and just
Yeah.
tell you, don't do this.
right.
Have y'all been able to do that for anyone else? I mean, you do it probably for all of your team, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
has anyone come to you guys and have been like, hey, we're wanting to start this. What are the do's and don'ts? And
Yes.
Yes.
We got a long list of the don'ts for sure. But no, we get that. And especially from being, the ambassadors, just getting calls now, just from different people. And it's a good thing.
I think Keller Williams has a good culture of helping each other, and there's like really not any competition. I would say like it's we started something recently called like mastermind groups, and so Logan's leading one and I'm leading one on operations, and so I meet with other people that are in the same position as me on other teams, and so it looks differently on other teams, but we're able to share best practices and whatnots, and it's been really helpful. So
I have a question submission.
oh,
This question is, do you want to be on the podcast?
yes.
Yes.
That's the question we got from someone on Instagram.
block them. Better not have been any of our employees. And I
It
have a
was.
feeling, yeah.
You have an idea
I
who
know
it was?
exactly who it was.
Do you? I don't think you know.
Aaron,
Nope.
it was not you.
My phone is in the other room.
Anyway.
It better not have been Jared.
No.
Jeremiah,
Nope.
we don't have any other employees.
Yes, we do.
Who am I forgetting about?
Uh-oh.
Gabe.
Oh,
Did you say Gabe?
I forget about him.
Anyway, he just wanted to know if you guys wanted to be on the podcast.
Yes. Yes.
We do.
So it's us consenting.
Yeah, making sure.
Okay, when we were emailing about you being on the podcast, and then you were like, I just had a baby. I'll like schedule something for next week. And I was like, what do you mean you're going to schedule for something? You're not going to schedule for something next week.
No, she's a superwoman. She is able to balance things very, very, very well. And yeah,
Some
she's
days are
very
harder than
impressive.
others. No. Yesterday I told Logan, I was like, I got spit up, I have milk, I have poop all over me. I was
Yeah.
like, I need to go home. It was one of those days. But for the most part, it's great. They're my coworkers.
She comes to the office with y'all.
She
Yes.
does.
That's awesome.
I mostly work from home until further notice. But
Yeah.
she's like, Mom.
Tiny coworkers.
I
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they're so cute.
Mhm.
They bring a lot of joy.
They
They
do.
do.
They really
Aw.
do.
What do you know now that you wish you would have known when you first started?
Mm.
Either together or Logan, just you starting, however y'all want to answer that one.
To think on that for a minute.
And there's, I think going back, the biggest thing is if I would have stayed out of my own way and just taken the leap a little bit quicker, you think a lot of what ifs, but
Yeah.
also too, it's God's timing. I wouldn't change it any other way at the same time.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this might be more of a Hannah question.
Okay.
But where can everyone find you guys if they want to get in contact with you?
Ooh, our website, probably.
Facebook page.
TXRealestategroup.com,
Facebook, Instagram. It's all TX Real Estate Group.
TX Real Estate Group.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give me a call.
And what exactly, should people be looking for if they want to contact you?
That is a loaded question in of itself because we have referral partners all over the world. We got people that specialize in commercial, specialize in apartments, industrial, whatever that may be that we can get them connected with. So, or if they're looking to get into real estate. So lots of
everything.
options.
Everything.
Yeah,
If you want to buy something,
for sure. If you want to
they
buy
can do it.
or sell.
What about commercial? You do commercial too?
We do commercial as well.
Okay. They sell it all, you guys.
A little bit. We are not the profession. That's not our specialty.
Yeah.
I was gonna say professional commercial guys, but that's not a good sentence. It's not our specialty. We'll go with that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks
Thank y'all
for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.
This was good.
And for bringing all that joy.
Sweet Nora.
Look at her tiny little
I know.
feet. They're so
I've
small.
been looking at her feet this whole
I
time.
thought me too.
my
They're like
favorite.
sticking out of the little
Yeah.
wrap, and I love it so much.
Tiny toes.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Stay Focused podcast.
You can find more episodes wherever you listen to podcasts.
Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you want more bonus content, you can join our Patreon.
Remember that your story matters, so stay focused.